we will be watching the interview of one of the most prominent representative of Business Association and the great Ukrainian, great support of Ukraine, Andy Honda, who will be talking to Rustam Umerov, the newly appointed head of the State Property Fund of Ukraine. The topic is huge. Many ways how to implement effectively privatization. So I will be watching with great interest this session. So Andy, over to you.
Well, thank you, Serhiy, and thank you for your leadership and everything you do with Ukraine Invest. I think now more than ever, it's just so important to get the message out that Ukraine is open for business. Businesses are continuing to work in Ukraine. We see this every day with our members, and we see that 72% of our members are fully operational, continue to work in Ukraine. 96% are planning continuing operations. So I think the private sector, the role is currently playing, but more importantly, I think the role the private sector will play in the reconstruction, the recovery, the rebuilding of a new Ukraine. How better to address this than speaking today with Rustam Umerov, who is the newly appointed chair of the State Property Fund of Ukraine. Rustam, it is good to see you. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for inviting, and thank you for Ukraine Invest for making this opportunity possible.
Well, it's brilliant to see you. And well, firstly, congratulations on your appointment. So this was this month, I believe you were appointed the chair of the State Property Fund. Indeed, we see that Ukraine is second in the world for the number, or Ukraine has the second largest number of state-owned enterprises in the world. So these are, 3,500 enterprises that are still owned and managed by the state. So I think, Rustam, what we would like to hear, and I think especially targeting the private sector, we represent the private sector. It's really, the American Chamber of Commerce. We've been in Ukraine for 30 years, since 1992. We are regularly communicating with our colleagues across the Atlantic in the United States, with our US chamber. We have our 44 American chambers across Europe. And it's really, when we speak with them, and they do want to know, we're looking at a massive reconstruction of a new country after this victory. So the question was then for you, Serhiy, if you could just switch off your microphone, because we're getting interference. Serhiy, if you can switch off your mic, thank you. Rustam, I mean, what are, if you can give us an overview of what your initial priorities are as chair of the State Property Fund, and what are you looking at in the next short term, in the next 6 months?
Sure. Let me then have just explanation. Are we continuing in Ukrainian or English?
We can do both.
It's better to do in English if possible, in order to avoid translation, if there is a chance. If it's in Ukrainian, you can do in Ukrainian, then we will do
I'll do just in Ukrainian, and then I will switch question and answers in English then, if possible, because I was told it is in Ukrainian. Хочу просто тоді ще раз подякувати всім. Ми, як Україна, надовго потрапили у фокус цілого світу, як
Rustam, can you switch on the microphone, please? It's gone mute. Включи, будь ласка, мікрофон.
Да.
Дякую.
Алло. Ще раз хочу подякувати за організацію цього інвестиційного привабливості, для нас дуже важливо. Як ви знаєте, і Україна потрапила у фокус цілого світу як новий лідер, як нація, що перемагає. Ми не тільки витримали перший удар, але й завдали серію ударів у відповідь. Після перемоги Україна буде епіцентром економічного зростання. Ми вже робимо внесок у продовольчу безпеку світу. Ми вже є драйвером світової військово-промислової індустрії. і найближчі роки Україна буде головним будівельним майданчиком світу. В нас, в українців, є рідкісний актив – це сміливість, винахідливість, креативність. Щодо сектору прямих іноземних інвестицій, який складає 1,6 трильйонів, ми, на жаль, за останні роки отримали менш ніж 30 мільярдів прямих іноземних інвестицій. І зараз відбуваються великі зміни у самій архітектурі інвестицій. Через різні речі, через емісію трильйонів доларів і євро у розвинутих країнах, там немає дуже багато інвестицій або можливостей, які можуть приносити дуже гарні проценти дохідності. І дохідність цих інвестицій в розвинутих країнах набагато менше, ніж зараз може бути в Україні. Є інфляція, питання прибутку. Для того ми бачимо, що є деякі тренди на великі інвестиції, які можуть бути заохочені в Україну. І цьому якби інституційні інвестори, як державні суверенні фонди, інфраструктурні фонди, пенсійні фонди, які керують трильйонами доларів, раніше вони не були зацікавлені в Україні. Ну, взагалі нас не було на радарі цих великих гравців. Зараз ми, як Україна, працюємо з цими країнами і хочемо, щоб Україна потрапила до стратегії найбільших фондів світу. Що ми можемо запропонувати світові? Це відновлення України, тобто відновлення займе не щонайменше $1 трильйон, тому що в нас дуже багато чого зруйновано. Мабуть, у нас з'являться нові міста індустрії. Ми не будемо будувати старі заводи, це буде будування новітніх підприємств. Ми в центрі Європи і ми зростаючий ринок. На жаль, ми не emerging market, ми emergency market зараз, але і при цьому всьому, так як ми emergency market, оцінка вартості всього українського бізнесу зараз знаходиться на мінімумі, як державному, так і в приватному секторі. І в нас, на жаль, дуже мінімальні мультиплікатори. І з одного боку, з іншого боку, це означає величезний потенціал. Щодо залучення інвестицій і створення національного багатства України, які є стратегічні завдання? Ми повинні включити усі наявні ресурси у процес підприємницької діяльності. Всі засоби виробництва мають стати на службу підприємцеві, ніщо не може простоювати. Ми повинні створити виробництво з глибокої переробки наших природних ресурсів всередині держави, і це ключ до економіки з високою доданою вартістю. Ми повинні інтегруватися в світовий розподіл праці, відкривши нові ринки, індустрії та технології. Що ми, як Фонд держмайна України, можемо зробити для інтеграції України у світову архітектуру інвестицій? Зараз йде така зміна ставлення до державної власності. І ми хочемо стати єдиним центром управління державною власністю. Зараз у нас державне майно розкидано по 96 органах управління. В результаті держава навіть не має оцінки реальної вартості того, що їй належить. Найкращі державні підприємства або природне багатство, ліцензії на користування цими багатствами є нашим національним скарбом. На цьому ґрунті можуть і мають постати нові лідери економіки. Ми їх називаємо національними чемпіонами. Ці національні чемпіони мають стати зразком корпоративного управління згідно зі світовими стандартами або магнітом для талантів та кузнею кадрів для інвестиційного і корпоративного управління. Решта державного майна має бути приватизована на аукціонах, щоб дати інструменти у діяльність малого та середнього бізнесу, яке забезпечить можливості для розвитку бізнесу. Вкупі всі ці рішення позбавлять інвестиційний сектор зайвої бюрократії, дозволять постати ефективному управлінню і залучать справді великі капітали. Щодо створення суверенного фонду, який іноді Іноді ми виходимо в ефір і кажемо, що з фонду держмайна ми зробимо ефективного керівника державними активами і також створимо суверенний фонд. Консолідація цих державних активів, всіх державних активів, дозволить створити суверенний фонд і співпрацювати з іншими суверенними фондами або інвестиційними фондами. Співпраця з цими інвестиційними фондами наших союзників – це наш шанс залучити великі інвестиції вже зараз. Наші партнери вірять в майбутнє України і розуміють неминучість нашої перемоги і відновлення. Відповідно, готові інвестувати в нашу державу. Наразі фонд активно консультується з міжнародними партнерами щодо створення такого українського суверенного фонду по управлінню державними активами. І також, користуючись цією нагодою, Енді, хотів би запросити всіх долучитися до цієї ініціативи. Ваші ідеї цінні для мене. Буду радий поспілкуватися про це докладно з вами. І якщо створення і розвиток такого гравця, як Український суверенний фонд, буде можливим, це буде магніт для інвестицій, яка є і мета нашої команди. Щодо питання приватизації, вже буду закінчувати, передавати слово. Ми зробили рестарт приватизації у 2022 році. Це важливий крок до відновлення бізнес-активності України і зміцнення економічної безпеки нашої держави. Приватизація потрібна для розвитку економіки, залучення інвестицій, інакше держмайно і надалі буде втрачати вартість, а держава буде втрачати гроші. Наші перші цьогорічні аукціони продемонстрували наявність попиту на ринку, бізнес живий і український бізнес готовий інвестувати. Ми ставимо собі чіткий графік завершити цю приватизацію якнайскоріше. До кінця 2022 року плануємо провести мінімум 150 аукціонів. І з усіма наявними об'єктами можна ознайомитись на сайті Privatization.gov.ua. Це дуже швиденько по тому, що ми робимо за той короткий час, за 2+ тижні, які я зараз очолюю фонд держмайна, і готовий відповідати на ваші питання. Дякую.
Супер, я дуже дякую, Рустеме. Я думаю, що це щодо пояснення. Якщо дозволите, я думаю, що питання ми поставимо англійською, тому що тут...
Да, будь ласка, да.
So, thank you, Rustem, for concise and very detailed presentation on the plans. I think what you've done over the last fortnights in the job. Just to clarify, so I mean, the 150 auctions that you mentioned, you're planning this year still, or
yes, it is. It is only. Look, first of all, everybody was skeptic about restarting privatization. I said, guys, we focus to defense of our country. We have to earn money, contribute to the cabinet so that the cabinet could spend it to the defense, to the soldiers. So we have to be a contributor rather than institution that always makes minuses. Because as of today, there are up to 75 billion hryvnia in constant costs that country is paying, and 7 billion is actually made by state property fund. And I'm trying to understand why annually this cost is occurred. So that is why I said we have to be a profitability center and we have to start privatization. And it showed that the local investor, Ukrainian investors, are ready to risk, ready to restart the businesses. So I think we have to continue, and until the end of year, we will see what is market saying.
I think not only Ukrainian investors. I think we saw the day before yesterday on Monday that there was a signing here in London of 125 million dollars of a number of funds, IFIs, but including even the part of the Rockefeller funds into a new fund from the Horizon Capital. So I think the message was that, you know, Ukraine is open for business. But if these, in the short term, I mean, do I understand correctly that the focus will be mainly on SMEs looking? So the next six months, the short term? Is that what the focus is going to be?
No, I'm trying to actually disrupt this idea of only SMEs. We should not touch the big players or something. As of today, the State Property Fund will be like, there are 4 functions that we're doing. It is that we're trying to get the revenue out of privatization. There are small privatization, which is mainly the real estate lands, and there is a big privatization, as they call. I don't see what is the difference. I think we have to privatize everything except dignity. So there are like players, national players in chemical industry, in agri industry, in fertilizers, and we're working on it to organize, to prepare them for privatization as well. As of today, as we speak, of course, I'm trying to discuss with the asset management team to start the sales, to restart the business, to try to discuss with the suppliers, make marketing, make sales, but it is with the asset management team. With the privatization team, I say, guys, until the asset management team is trying to restart the business, focus on whatever we have in our hand. Let's help small and medium enterprise businesses and try to get ready for the big assets to come to the market. So this is simultaneous work. And apart from this, I'm working with the consultants. I'm trying to involve consultants to consult what would be the best for Ukraine to do as of today. As I said, we want to become a contributor to the cabinet rather than an institution that always makes minuses in the balance sheet.
Right. Well, brilliant. I think that's a very, I like that statement. Privatize everything except dignity. I think that's a very good message to send out. In terms of some of the bigger assets that you'll be looking at. I mean, anything particular that you can mention at this stage? Anything sort of tangible? Any names?
I would say that at this stage, let's say, we're working now to discuss with all potential investors what could be the appetite, what are their interests. Of course, everybody comes with the same set of questions, that there is no law, or there is profitability, corporate governance, we don't understand, or something. I would like to signal to the market that we are an emergency market. We're focused to survive. We're focused to become a leader in emerging markets after we win the war. But as of today, we don't want to stop. All our focus is privatize, sell everything, bring investors, support small and medium enterprises. If we find good experts, investors in fertilizer industry, in natural gas industry, in licenses, in oil and gas, in metallurgical sector, in mining sector, we would like to sit with them and discuss what could they do now. Is it possible to make the strategic agreements? Is it interesting for them to let's say, privatize, or we want to discuss with them directly. That is why I visited the Middle East, and now I'm in US. Today I'm going to meet the investment bankers, investment funds, and I'm keen to return and to meet with you guys, because we were planning to meet with you, but there was a as you know, the prisoners of war exchange. That's why it's a little bit shifted. But please convey the message that the State Property Fund is absolutely going to be a magnet for investors, and we're open to discuss any asset that is interesting for the investor, and to see what could be value for Ukraine, for the market, for the investment climate.
Yeah. Well, I think very grateful to you for all your involvement, especially in the prisoner swap and everything that's been going on behind the scenes. So very, very, taking our hat off to you. In terms of the issue you mentioned about the legality. So Parliament did, I think it was Law 741151, if I'm not mistaken. So have all legal obstacles been removed now to allow privatization to take place?
Yes, we are like the obstacles will be always there because we've made a decommunization law, but de-Sovietization of the mind has not happened yet. So that's why it is always constant discussion that we need laws to pass, the decrees to pass. So what I ask my team to do is to focus every session. We go to the to Parliament, we go to the cabinet and say, this is what we are going to deliver. This is what we want to change. The reason why we want to transform the Fond Держмайна or State Property Fund, we want to become an economically independent entity that could conclude agreements directly, could sell the assets and obtain the money to the fund's accounts so that we could provide this money to the consultants, not search for them and then search for donors. We want to become an investment institutions. We want to become like a minister of investment. So that is why from one side, we're a regulator. I don't want to use the word regulator of майнових прав, but we want to become an operator. So the laws is one of the issues that we're working, but productively. We are involving the members of parliament. We are involving the cabinet to help with us. So we're working prior going to the floor. We are discussing with them these issues. And thanks God that members of parliament, cabinet, office of the president, they always support these ideas.
Okay, well, brilliant. I'm seeing one thing you said, and I think you said this last week, or you said this on the 14th of September. The principle that you have, хочеш керувати підприємством, купуй і керуй. So if you want to manage the entity, buy and manage it. I mean, can you just...
yes, I'll explain. When we had the conversation with the leadership of Ukraine, and since I come with the human rights background and investment, let's say, background, but was involved in advocacy for the last couple of years. So I was always told about the stories that somebody comes to appoint somebody, or somebody comes to, let's say, mingle, agree, pay, or something. So I said, guys, let's do one thing. We, as I already mentioned, we sell everything except dignity. This is one thing that Fond Держмайна or state property doesn't have, is reputation. So let's build it up. So any person who comes with a request to appoint his CEO or the board or something, we just offer them to go to Prozoro, buy it, and appoint his own CEO. We get the money. We contribute to the cabinet. The cabinet buys everything what defense needs. Everybody is happy. So you don't need to come and drink coffee with me to bring anything, because this principles doesn't work. And I always supported for the, especially last years when I discussed with the my colleagues from anti-corruption, I see that the government is making a good progress in transparency, in appointing a proper people, in implementing the proper procedures and principles. And since I'm a man of principles, we are ready to discuss anything to make things possible without jeopardizing these principles. So that is why I said it is very understandable, clear-cut message to everybody. Buy the asset, appoint the CEO, and from my register of state property fund, you will be the tax register. So you will be a resident of tax agency. So I think the message was understood well.
Yes, I think, and one other thing you said, I think this was again last week in one of your, one of the economic forums, you said that Україна буде новим драйвером для світових інвестицій. So Ukraine will be a new driver for global investments. In terms of timing, you know, so we are we're in war. The war is continuing. What kind of timing, I mean, are you looking at? And you know, what is it that investors, what kind of timing should they be looking at?
I think investors should be looking to something that I just recently met with several of the investors. I said to them, look, we are 100 billion at the moment country, GDP country. We have a potential to become 1 trillion in next 10 years. Why? We will win them. We will win them. And their all assets will be ours. So there is no doubt about it. So if you want to be courageous like Ukrainians, just look at the opportunity, because we want the effective owners of the effective owners that would be contributing their experience, their networking, their knowledge to the market. It's not only about money. It's about the expertise, about knowledge, about scalability. So buy the assets that are 10 times now less or doesn't cost anything, but they are the crown jewels of our economy. They could generate you a great, let's say, profitability, and we as a government are eager to support you. So at this stage, I say that within the 10 years, we will have let's say, a rebuilding of 1 trillion to 2 trillion, let's say, investment coming. But we also will be becoming the world's largest place or platform for the rebuilding, which will ignite the EPC companies, construction, real estate, chemicals, industrial, smart factories. And people are looking in they're moving the factories from the Far East, and we are eager to host them. So at this stage, the army side, the defense side, we are liberating, and we have muscle to do this. It is hard. It is hard. Nevertheless, I don't see a bright future for our northern neighbor. Why? Because we are a strong nation that will make things possible. So that is why now we want to attract, we're able to defend our own nation. We're able to defend our own people. The people are returning home. So these consumers are like consumer segment is rising as well. So that is why we're trying to discuss with investors not to sell them the dream. No, we want to sell that we are the place that will be contributing to the world food security, contributing to the fertilizer security. We have the engineering power. The machinery is there, the engineering houses is there, and we're capable of making unicorns and decacorns. So please come, and this is the time. The time is right now.
Well, brilliant. I think, and I think the visibility, the brand Ukraine. I think the bravery, the resilience of the business community, inspired by the bravery of the women and men on the front lines, the Ukrainian military, I think is really inspiring the world. I think in the business community, we see this. I think, you know, I've said on numerous occasions before, the internet works better in wartime Kiev than it does in many European capitals. And I think, you know, this resilience of technology, the mobile networks are up and running, the banks continue to deliver services online, but also bringing cash to the ATMs across small towns across the country. So that's brilliant. But no, I think, Rustem, I see we have 1 minute left, and I do want to thank you, everything you do, especially during these most challenging times. I do really again thank Serhiy Tivkach and all the team at Ukraine Invest for everything they're doing, for a phenomenal job and really getting the message out. Ukraine is open for business. So, I mean, Rustem, 30-second sort of wrap up. Why invest in Ukraine, and why invest now?
Once again, thank you very much, Andy. Thank you, Serhiy, for inviting. Ukraine is a global player now. We've been 20 years ago, we put the vision to become a European Union country. We will be soon. Where we put to become a NATO country, we will be soon. And we're putting the aim to become a G20 country. We will be soon. So that is why we are a driver. We have the creative people, and this is the asset of Ukrainian people. apart from the creativity, we're courageous people. So that is why the people will be returning, and we're in the crossroads of Europe and Asia. We're close to the market, within the 5-hour reach to billion plus market. So, and we're eager now to create these unicorns and decacorns in our land. We're ready to provide the investors the good climate and change the laws to attract them. So we want them now, if it is possible. We as a state property fund, also as an institution, as Ukraine Invest or other cabinet institutions, we're ready to assist. Why? Because most of our cabinet members are now professionals, and this is a trend in Ukraine, and we want to host these investors to gain their expertise and scalability.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. I think on our side also, as the American Chamber of Commerce, we are delighted to assist anybody currently looking at coming to Ukraine or supporting those that are in Ukraine at the moment. So if anybody needs to contact me, my details are available online. But